I'm really interested on this next reply by you. So in the last 3 games, we know we both like Bo Nix out of college, and we both think Sean Payton's very smart. But in the last 3 games, they're averaging 36 a game. What is he giving him more to do? I'll tell you what, that 7th-round Utah receiver they got, that kid can play. Some of this is just their receiving corps is maybe a little tastier than people thought. What is the Bo Nix-Payton relationship? What is the film saying over the last month?
Well, you know, it's funny you asked me that, because I think that the way he calls a game in certain situations, Sean Payton, that is, tells you everything you need to know about what he feels about Bo Nix. Think about what he did with 2 third-quarter plays from deep in their own territory out of the end zone. 3rd and 11, and he throws a seam ball to Mims for a touchdown, and then 2nd and long on, I think it might have been the next possession, he throws, I think that's what we're looking at now, this boot pass to Sutton. That tells you all you need to know, the confidence that Payton has in his ability not only to make the throws, but to make the right decisions, because if you make the wrong decision in your end zone, you've got a problem. And by the way, both of those throws came against a coverage we call cover 2 invert, where they're playing cover 2, but they get to it a different way. But the thing that really stands out about Nix is he's driving the ball. And I don't think we thought when he came out of Oregon that he'd necessarily be that kind of power thrower. You're certainly not going to say he's Matthew Stafford, but he's made drive throws with velocity. He made a far hash sideline throw this week. He's made these kinds of throws. A couple of weeks ago, we showed a play, a window throw between the numbers, between the hashes. He has really shown the ability to drive the football at the intermediate and deeper levels. And I'm not sure we all thought that would be the case.
Yeah, I think that's such a perfect answer. Because he, you know, the way how he's talking about the trust that and the belief that Sean Payton has in Bo Nix, and listen, I kind of signaled that in the Kansas City Chiefs game, where I was just like, look what Payton is asking Bo Nix to do, and that's why I kept saying Bo Nix has arrived. The belief is there. They're putting this team on his shoulders. They are actually filling his plate up. They are not just, you know, spoon feeding everything to Bo Nix. So there's obviously that insane belief. And like I talked about a little bit in a previous video about how sometimes we can look at backup quarterbacks, you know, quarterbacks that have maybe had a hot streak and then, you know, kind of failed. And it's like, well, what's the difference? Because, you know, and my reference point was like, we can find random quarterbacks, the Gardner Minshew's of the world, look at some highlights and be like, that's top level quarterback play. And it's like, so how do we know that this isn't that? And this is kind of the answer right here, is the trust. Like, these plays aren't accidental. So many of these other backup quarterback type situations that when we see someone kind of have some, you know, really great runs or whatever, it's kind of like, well, we got to do something here. Something's got to happen, and it is kind of more of like a, you know, let's just try this. You know, we need something, because you're a quarterback. You need to be able to, you know, we need you to be able to do something. And this right here is so much more intentional and built with so much more confidence and belief in what the quarterback is going to do in this situation. And I'm mad that I didn't point this out before after this game about kind of like you know, you make a mistake in your own end zone, you know, like that's trouble. I mean, it could be pretty much, at that point, it could be pretty much game, right? You could be literally handing the game over. And to see, you know, Sean Payton put Bo Nix in that situation, again, I've also said this a lot, is that the number one job of a coach is to put the quarterback in a position, you know, to put you as a player in a position to succeed, you know, to not put them in a position to fail. And clearly that's built upon this incredibly high level belief that Bo Nix is going to get the job done. Not only is he, you know, or at a bare minimum, he's not going to do the wrong thing. He's not going to hurt this team. And it's just remarkable to see in real time, honestly. It really is. And you can see, right, 5 touchdowns in the first 7, and then 12 passing touchdowns in the last 6 games, right? It's like night and day. If Bo Nix really takes off and turns out to be like a true top-level quarterback, we will look back on this and study how they developed Bo Nix, how they kind of, allowed him to make his mistakes, easier game plans a little bit maybe early on, and just kind of like slowly worked up to it, because it's pretty wild. And the other thing that's kind of exciting to think about, and he's due to have another bad rookie quarterback moment or two, because that's just gonna happen. It's a guarantee. It's 99.9% a guarantee that he's going to make a couple throws that you're just like, oh no, bro. No, Bo, that's not what you do, bud. And that's fine, because he's a rookie quarterback. He's going to take a terrible sack, and you're like, no, why didn't you do that? Just throw the ball away. You're trying to do too much. That's going to happen. But the really exciting thing is you can see the progress, right? Just even based off of just a basic, touchdown increase. And obviously there's other, other progress that he's shown. But it's like, what about these next 5 games? It's like, can he really continue to take off? I mean, we saw it with Jordan Love, where, and again, Jordan Love was obviously in the NFL a little bit longer, but he wasn't a starter. He did kind of play like one or two random games, right? He had the one game when, Rodgers was like sick or hurt or both. And he had the one game where he kind of came in at the end against the Eagles, I think in 22 or 23, man. Yeah, it was 20. No, yeah, 22. And so... this is like, obviously isn't perfect, but we saw how as soon as he started to get comfortable, it was just like this rapid progress. And he literally was like the best quarterback. For those 10 games last season, he was literally the best quarterback in the NFL. And then he rolled the Dallas Cowboys. And it's just such a fascinating prospect. Now, I will say that I do think that the Packers had a better roster at that point. They were really kind of ready to really explode it. And maybe the Broncos are there too, right? Maybe a lot of people didn't think that about the Packers at that time, and then it became that. And so maybe that could be the Broncos. That's definitely a possibility. But it's like, is it possible that the Broncos get into the playoffs and they crush their version of the Dallas Cowboys? I mean, like, can you imagine? Like that, and can Bo Nix be the best quarterback in the NFL for this final stretch? For these next 5 or so games or whatever? Like, I think it's a real possibility. Again, I'm not necessarily predicting it, but I'm not saying it's improbable either. Like, it is a legitimate possibility. And there's some big games coming up for them. So we're going to find out. We're certainly going to find out. And that's why I'm really hoping for this first round Broncos versus Kansas City Chiefs. That's the game I want. First playoff game. And again, then the stage is set. Can the Denver Broncos literally shock the world? It's just, I crave real storylines. Fake storylines, things that we make something out of nothing. Again, I can talk forever and ever and ever. So if we want to talk about Greg Cosell, look at that outfit that he's wearing. Like, I can make you a literal 45-minute just talking about Greg Cosell's suit jacket. All right? I mean, like, I got the gift of gab. You guys know that by now. But, like, it does kind of drive me crazy that even I, to a degree, still have to partake in, like, nonsense, sports talk, various topics where you're just like, this doesn't really matter. What are we doing here? And so, like, a game like with the Chiefs versus the Broncos playoffs, I talked about this now a few times, because it's just like, I think about it and I'm like, that is real. That is real football. Playoffs, Broncos, Chiefs. And if the Broncos beat the Chiefs, it's like, those are real stories now. We're talking about like peak, like, oh my God, what just happened? Rookie quarterback, Bo Nix, Denver Broncos, knocking out, first game of the playoffs, Kansas City Chiefs. And again, Chiefs fans are going to be like, you're such a hater, that's what you're rooting for. And it's like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, it's just the conversations that would spring from that would be just so good. And at the very least, that game, like, that's the game that we want to see. You want to see the Broncos versus the Bills, the Broncos versus the Ravens, Broncos versus the Chargers. No, it's the Broncos versus the Chiefs. Let's go. Revenge for the game where they got the field goal blocked, right? Can you imagine another field goal attempt with 2 seconds left in the fourth quarter, down by 1? I mean, like, it's just, That is box office. So it's like I hope the Broncos can tie this all together. I hope Bo Nix can continue to get better and better and better as this season progresses. Obviously, it's a shorter runway now. You know, you only got like a month or left to go. And it's just like, oh man, there's just potential for some, like, again, unforced stories and content that we all get to just sit back and watch and then just, you know, let the rest unfold. So when I see stuff like this and hear Greg talk, like, that's where my mind kind of keeps going. That's why I kind of just keep getting more and more and more in hype. Like, I'm recording this Bo Nix video, which is going to post, and then I'm recording another Bo Nix video with Dan Orlovsky and Hawk on NFL Live, talking about you know, his maturity and his growth. And so it's going to be really interesting. I'm really interested to see, like, obviously I just saw what Greg had to say, and now I'm curious to see kind of like what Orlovsky's kind of insight, where the progress has been and where he's come, you know, where he's come along. So it's you know, I'm filling my cup on the Bo Nix Denver Broncos train. That is for sure. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos? Outside of what obviously Greg pointed out, is there anything else that you've witnessed, that you've been seeing? And do you think he will continue to get better as the, you know, next few games unfold? And, you know, do you think it's possible that they actually could win a playoff game or two? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.